President Muhammadu Buhari has accepted to appear before the House of Representatives to answer the lawmakers' questions about the deteriorating security situation in the country. What manner of questions will the reps be asking the president? And how exactly is he expected to speak in order to calm frayed nerves? In the aftermath of last weekend's Boko Haram killing of farmers in Borno State, it was clear from the reaction of federal lawmakers in the House how much emotional investment Nigerians have been forced to make as a result of the atrocities of the terrorists. For a conversation around this, we are now being joined by Honorable Henry Nwawuba, a member of the People's Democratic Party House Caucus, representing Imbitolu Ikeduru Federal Constituency in Imo State. Welcome to the program, Honorable Henry Nwawuba. Thank you for joining us. Well, very quickly, many Nigerians are excited that the president has agreed to appear before the House of Reps to give account about the security situation in the country. Could you take us through what happened in the House on that occasion? Because many of us were surprised that what looks like a straightforward proposition became an occasion for rancor among lawmakers. And what are your expectations? And is it confirmed that the president will be addressing the House of Representatives on Thursday next week?
Thank you very much. Well, I think as lawmakers, being the people that the group or the arm of government that is the last mile, especially when you talk about interfacing with the electorate or the people, the House of Representatives will always remain dynamic. We're always going to be reacting to the situations on ground in Nigeria. If you remember, as part of our legislative agenda, the 9th House of Representatives has security on its top front burner. It's one of the sectors that we actually intend to perhaps, put more effort, put more attention, because security seems to be deteriorating in Nigeria, steadily declining and getting worse in the last 4 years and even beyond. So what happened was essentially that we are questioning, we're reviewing the security situation in Nigeria. It's not just in the National Assembly. A lot of Nigerians are raising serious concerns. If you have been following what has been trending in the media since about a week now, it has always been about what can we do. Recall when we had the NSAS protests in this country, everybody was questioning and demanding and saying, look, we need to hear from the president. We need the chief security officer of this country to speak to the issues, to reassure Nigerians, and to just tell us what is really going on. And that's what played out. The House of Representatives is demanding, we were essentially going through plenary and doing our work and saying, look, we cannot keep going like this. Every day we hear of explosions, lives. We have lost more lives through Boko Haram than any other, even perhaps if left unchecked, even perhaps more than we lost in the Civil War. So we essentially went through the motions, let's say, and we are happy that we have gotten to where we are today as a result of the brouhaha, if you will. We are going to be interfacing with Mr. President, and we will get an opportunity to ask him the questions that are burning on our minds. And I believe it is the right step in the right direction, and I know that we'll be asking and speaking the minds of Nigerians.
Thank you for that. Kudos to you all, particularly Honorable Jaha of Borno State APC, who insisted that that prayer was not omitted and the president ought to be invited to explain to Nigerians what he's doing to halt the killings. Now, there was also a request for a declaration of a state of emergency. Is there an update on that? And what are your thoughts on that? Do you agree with that?
Well, there's no update on the request for declaration of state of emergency. I'm not a security expert. I think that They're looking at all the issues. We need to situate the security conversation that we had on the floor on that day with what is actually happening in Nigeria. Security is a major issue all across the country. Every part of Nigeria is facing its own unique security challenges. We, as the representatives of the people and lawmakers, we also have a dotted line to the security agencies, to the executive, to ask and to make sure that protection of lives and properties as enshrined in the Nigerian Constitution is actually achieved. You know, when it comes to legislation, when it comes to legislative activities on the floor, we have divergent views. There are those who will speak for a situation or an issue, and there will always be those that will speak against it. But ultimately, the resolution of the House is what is carried forward. And in this issue, the House has resolved to invite the President. We have received signal that he will be honoring the invitation on Thursday next week. And so what I think we should be the topmost in our minds at the moment as representatives of the people is to immediately commence the aggregation of questions, of thoughts, of comments, suggestions, ideas, advices, or whatever it is that we want to, pass across to Mr. President as we seek to find solutions to the security challenge in Nigeria.
So, I mean, great one. I'd like to ask, what sort of session is it going to be? Is it going to be an executive session where he comes to see you guys closed door? Or is this something that it's going to be national where we all get a chance to see it? There are many issues that have been raised. At first, the issue of service chiefs. So part of the questions, because you are our lawmakers, you represent us there, you are there to speak for us, you are our parliament, as it were. First question will be service chiefs.
That's right.
What's going to be the thing, the word about service chiefs as regards that? Also, are you people going to bring about to the fore the recent increase in security challenges? The papers this morning was talking about Edo State. I traveled that road a couple of months ago, Ekpoma Road. It was all safe then, but now people are kidnapped and taken to the bush on Ekpoma Road in Edo State. And Edo State has been a hotbed, since the end of the NSAS protests and things like that. One other one, is going to be general morale, of the military. Increasingly, we're having military officers doing videos. People like Major General Adeni, that was court-martialed recently, doing videos to say that there's no adequate funding or equipment for the troops. And a senator, too, said that recently, as regards funding and equipment for the troops. So those three things, what's going to be your take on all of this, sir?
Well, you have raised some germane issues and put them on the table. I'll start with the first one. Personally, I would like it to be an open session with the cameras and all of that. But I also know that when it comes to security matters, it is not uncommon sometimes to go into executive sessions. We have not been advised for now. But either way, what is important is that the House is charged. The House is part of the country. We suffer the same things that we are Nigerians. We're part of the people. And indeed, like you said, using your words, we represent the people. So we will be engaging with Mr. President, and we will be asking him the hard questions and the right questions. The question regarding the service chiefs, everybody knows that, if it's insanity to continue to deploy the same techniques, the same style, the same thing repeatedly over and over again, and then you expect a different result. That will not happen. So it is the desire of Nigerians that we bring in fresh ideas at the level of the service chiefs or the architecture of security in this country. For whatever reason, that has not happened. We will be interrogating that situation with Mr. President. We want to know what is going on and we want to know why. Remember, when you talk about the third part of your question, the morale, part of the dampening of the morale that you see, it could also be attributed to the fact that there has been no, progress. People who have been waiting in line, perhaps to bring in fresh ideas and fresh perspectives and try their hands with, running the security of this country, have also been stagnated. So, of course, that will have a ripple-down effect and trickle down the line. So these are all the issues. Regarding security generally, like I said earlier on, it's not just about Edo State or Imo State, where I come from, or Kano State or Borno, or wherever. What we are seeing is that there has been a very big negative, progression, security-wise, across the country. And so what we probably need to be saying now is, or the questions we need to be asking are probably, what are the other reasons that may be leading to this hydra-headed monster? Because, of course, the security challenges rear up its ugly head in different formats, in different regions, and in different ways. These are some of the things that we want to know, and these are the questions that we're going to be pushing forward before Mr. President.
Okay, I'll just ask two specific questions. The first is, I mean, you are a member of the opposition. If you were to be given the opportunity to ask the president questions, what specific questions will you be asking him? And then if you look at the papers in the last 24 hours, we've seen the embarrassing story of the police allegedly taking the AGF and 103 others to court, including chairpersons of judicial panels of inquiry, attorneys general of the states where judicial panels of inquiry have been set up. And then you have the Inspector General of Police saying he's not aware that this is the case and he will investigate it. What does it say to you about the state of our, federation and the role of the police?
I think when it comes to security issues, I really am not comfortable making it a partisan affair. I think members of the PDP are affected in just the same manner as members of every other political party. I think this is one issue that we should be bipartisan. I think this is one issue that touches everybody in different ways. But personally, I will be asking the president why he has retained the same security chiefs in the last 5 years, and I would want to know what his plans are in terms of rejigging the architecture so that we can see some kind of movement and traction when it comes to the fight against insurgency in particular. With the issue of the Nigerian police, it's one of those situation that we have in this country. What the House has been doing as part of its legislative agenda has been focusing on police reforms that will address some of these issues. Sometimes when you want to see the changes on ground, you actually start from the engine room, you start innovating along the lines of policy, and hopefully the implementation will see some of these issues. The interagency clashes within the security forces is a very bad situation, because this is a time for clear head, clear strategy, clear plan. But sometimes we see that we play the ostrich. Sometimes you see people just putting their head away in shame while the entire corrupt system or the imbalances and every other thing is exposed. I think it's quite unfortunate, but again, as a legislator, I'm not tired. My colleagues are not tired. The 9th Assembly is not tired. Right now, we are away working with a group of technical resource persons in Lagos on the petroleum industry bill, which is something that we have committed that we're going to deliver to Nigerians, because we hope that that will translate to some positives on ground in terms of the financial position of this country, and hopefully that will also have an impact on the security situation in Nigeria. It's an ongoing story, and we're here to do the job. That's what we're here for, and we're getting it done.
I wanted to talk to you about another resolution of the House to assess the readiness of Nigeria's Defense Industries Corporation, DICON, to produce arms and ammunition, in view of the fact that there are reports that Nigeria is facing some challenges, procuring arms from our international allies, or who should be our allies. I want your take on that. And also, speaking of those challenges, the use of mercenaries, somewhat controversial, but it has proved effective in the past. You'd even recall, I'm sure, reports that the South African mercenaries that Nigeria used to put Boko Haram in check a few years ago actually bemoaned the fact that their gains have been squandered by the Nigerian government. Where do you stand on the issue of employing mercenaries?
Well, I'll take it from the first question. For over 5 years, I think towards the end of the Obama administration, I am aware that there was a restriction placed on Nigeria in procuring the necessary hardware, security hardware needed to fight insurgency, combat Boko Haram, and all of that. I think it's a shame, and I know the efforts in the Ninth Assembly at reversing some of these positions. I am aware that we have made a lot of progress as a country in terms of purchasing Tucano aircrafts from the United States government to hopefully assist the Nigerian Air Force in the pushback, the fight against the insurgents. I think it's an ongoing thing, and I think we need to essentially remain focused and steadfast towards building these, bilateral partnerships that can make sure that Nigeria gets the support and the hardware that it's needed when it comes to security issues. On banditry and general insecurity in the country using mercenaries, I think these questions are self-explanatory. I think it's deplorable. I do not support any act that will lead to further deterioration of security in this country. Like I said, yes, I wear the hat. I'm a member of parliament on the platform of the PDP, but I'm also a Nigerian. And when it comes to security, I speak truth to the issues. I think that Nigeria, as it is today, needs to reconfigure in a holistic manner the security architecture and the way we have been engaging. And if it means opening up ourselves, in some cases, in terms of bilaterals, and also closing down ourselves and looking internally at security operations and strategy, these are the issues that must be addressed by the experts, the security experts in this country. From a legislative perspective, we are going to give all the interventions that are necessary from legislators, and we're going to make sure that we put all the enablers into the law to ensure that our people deliver on some of the security challenges that they're meant to deliver on.
Well, thank you very much, Honorable Nwawuba, for joining us and for your brilliant insight.